Just when it seemed like negotiation might be on the table, a whole new and frankly much more dangerous phase of conflict has just kicked off in the Middle East. Okay, let's get right into this because the battlefield itself is changing, shifting away from soldiers and tanks to something totally different.
You see, the focus isn't really on traditional military targets anymore. Instead, what we're seeing are attacks aimed squarely at the economic lifelines of entire nations.
And this is the absolute key to understanding what's happening. The battlefield has expanded. It's not just about armies and bases anymore. Now it's about a country's economic backbone. We're talking steel plants, tech hubs, even global supply chains. So this explainer is all about this new tit-for-tat economic war between Israel and Iran and how it's starting to spiral way out of control.
So, where did this all start? Let's take a look at the first big move in this economic war. The initial Israeli strikes, as they were reported by our sources. Okay, so according to reports, Israel's first targets were a really strategic mix. They hit near some nuclear-related facilities, a uranium processing plant and a heavy water complex, which is super important for certain kinds of nuclear reactors. But the most significant attack, the one that really defines this whole new strategy, was the hit on 3 of Iran's biggest steel plants.
So why the steel plants? Why was that so important? Well, because those 3 plants, they make up a staggering 70% of Iran's entire steel output. This was a direct shot at the country's industrial heart.
And this quote from the sources just says it all, doesn't it? Iran's steel industry is described as the backbone of the country's economy after oil. This shows you that by hitting it, Israel wasn't just bombing a factory, it was striking at the very core of the Iranian economy.
So of course, Iran had to respond. And their move was fast, it was symmetrical, and you know what? It was designed to spread this fight way beyond their own borders.
Iran almost immediately put out this list of retaliation targets. See the pattern here? They completely mirrored Israel's strategy. They went after a steel plant and the tech sector in Israel, and then they publicly announced they were going to hit steel plants in allied Gulf states like Kuwait, Bahrain, the UAE, and Qatar.
And listen, these were not just empty threats. Right after Iran's announcement, reports started flooding in of real-world impacts. We're talking explosions at Bahrain's main port and near its fuel depots, with similar things happening in the UAE. At the same time, Iran was also targeting military bases and the main airport inside Israel. The economic war had officially gone regional.
Now, what's really fascinating here is just how fast other players got dragged into this. By day 3, you've got Yemen's Houthis firing missiles at Israel. And then by day 4, Iraqi militias are hitting U.S. bases in Jordan. The whole thing was just widening at an incredible and kind of scary speed.
And all this rapid escalation into a multi-front war is now putting a massive amount of pressure on the main militaries involved, and it is starting to show some serious cracks.
Let's start with Israel. The strain internally is so bad that the IDF chief himself has publicly admitted they have a critical manpower shortage. They literally just don't have enough soldiers for this fight.
And this chart really gives you a sense of why. The IDF is reportedly stretched incredibly thin across multiple active fronts. You've got the war in Gaza, the tense border with Lebanon, and massive deployments in the West Bank. They're just being pulled in too many directions all at once.
And hey, it's not just Israel feeling the heat. The United States military, which is, deeply involved in defending the region, is also starting to really feel the pressure.
This chart is, well, it's pretty stunning. According to Pentagon sources, in just the first 4 weeks of this wider conflict, the U.S. fired over 800 Tomahawk missiles. Now, to put that into perspective, they only produce about 600 of these missiles in an entire year. Their most effective weapon is literally being used up faster than it can be replaced. And this kind of intense strain on military resources, burning through your best weapons faster than you can build them, it leads directly to the end game. Because when your conventional military power is stretched this thin, controlling the strategic high ground becomes everything. So let's zoom out now, because the stakes here are no longer just regional. We're talking about something that could rock the entire global economy and international security.
It really all comes down to this one narrow strip of water, the Strait of Hormuz. Think of it as the planet's most important oil artery. It's the choke point that connects Middle Eastern oil producers to, well, everybody else.
Just how important is it? This one number tells the whole story. 20%. A full 1/5 of the entire world's daily oil supply passes right through this one strait. Control this passage, and you basically control global energy. And this right here perfectly lays out the 2 potential futures being discussed.
It's a real fork in the road. On one hand, if the U.S. keeps control of the strait, it solidifies its grip on global energy, and that strengthens the dollar. But on the flip side, if the U.S. is forced to pull back, the sources we're looking at predict Iran could become the dominant power in the region. And that kind of shift, well, some believe it could be the beginning of the end for the U.S. dollar's global dominance.
And as this whole conflict reaches a fever pitch, a new and frankly a much more dangerous possibility is reportedly being put on the table.
An Iranian member of parliament has come out and publicly said that it's time to exit the NPT. That's the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, the global agreement designed to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. It's a very clear signal that some powerful people in Iran think it's time to go for a nuclear option.
And that really leaves us with the ultimate question here. As this economic war spirals into a full-blown regional conflict, could pulling out of the nuclear treaty and actually building a bomb be Iran's final move? The answer to that could reshape the world as we know it.